Hello, everyone. My name is Tom Carmichael. I'm from the Seattle, Washington, United States area, and I'm going to be your expert today. So, firsthand here, we got a little bit of action just to kick things off with, so many spades and a decent but not amazing hand. We actually have a lot of different options here. And some of this is going to depend on style. There's definitely some upside to going slow and overcalling one spade. And there's definitely some upside to jamming the auction as well. Personally, I tend to be a bit more on the aggressive side just in general. So I'm going to go ahead and bid three spades. Seems like sort of a decent value bid. Partner's a passed hand, so pretty confident it's not our hand, likely the opponent's, but we have enough playing strength that it all seems reasonable. No surprise that the clubs is getting in the picture here. So we've done our bit here. Let's see what happens from here. So dummy is nothing terribly exciting. We do have both kings placed behind both aces, which is good for our side. The diamond length does mean that isn't necessarily going to be enough, but with our club void, we can hope that maybe our two kings, maybe partner can produce a trump trick, something like that. So we'll see what happens. Ace of hearts is not a play I was particularly expecting. That seems to indicate that partner has a lot of hearts. Oh, no. Declare tricked me. Still going to try and give partner a rough here for the setting trick. Well, I was not anticipating Declare trying to sneak a heart through rather than taking a finesse through partner. That's sort of a weird decision by Declare. It's not clear whether it actually costs. If we take the heart, they have a discard for their diamonds. So I understand why they did it, but it's still a little bit strange, especially with, from their perspective, they've got to be at least a little bit concerned about, well, I guess their trumps are weak enough that the roughs weren't relevant. I guess partner had natural trump tricks. I didn't see that they had the nine of clubs when I started speaking there. But so in the end, I guess we just traded our heart trick for a diamond trick. So it didn't actually matter, but it was still quite a surprising play by the robot there. I don't think that that's a play that most people would tend to make, but I've been wrong before. They did have a little bit of a flaw of how to get off dummies. So, I guess there is that. They were concerned about playing spades, although again, they know that all their trump losers are naturals. Playing a spade to their king wouldn't cost them. But in the end, it went down a couple. All right. Next case here, got a pretty good hand. We have, decent 6-4. Pretty clear that we have a one spade opener. So start with that, see what happens. Okay. What happens is not very much. So the 10 of diamonds lead is a little bit worrying. That easily could be Singleton. I'm inclined to start playing trumps right away. There's some possibility that maybe I should play a club and try to sneak that through, make it look like I'm trying to get to dummy for a trump finesse. But I have concerns that if that loses and they got a diamond rough and they cross to a heart and get another diamond rough, and maybe I'll lose extra tricks that way. So I think I'm just going to try and reduce the trump position and try to see if we can't do better that way. Okay. I don't think it much matters whether we play the 10 or not, but we'll go ahead and play it. All right. The robot didn't try to give them a rough. Okay. There was no rough. At least not yet. So once again, I'm just going to lead spades and see what happens. It probably means we're going to lose the ace of spades, but that's fine. So because of our lack of entries, we couldn't really do anything with the spade suit. We could have, like I said, tried to play a club and see if they ducked. If they do, that would have given us both the entry. Not only do we not lose club, it also gives us an entry to lose spade towards. So there's definitely some good good reasons to try that. But like I said, I thought that the odds of a diamond rough were high enough that I didn't want to go messing around with that. Turns out that the West player just simply had a awkward hand to lead from an opening lead, so they led their doubleton. It's the only suit that they didn't have the ace in, and Queen of One trump is not exactly a intact or folding to lead from either. So no surprise that they chose to lead a diamond from their actual hand. And this hand is not off to an exciting start, so we'll just see what happens. Let's see how this Michael's. Okay, just making sure that the the robot here wasn't doing something unexpected. There are some people who play various different systems over preamps, so I wasn't entirely sure what the robot is doing. Our hand is weak. We don't have a particular fit, so even though we're at favorable vulnerability and, we, be somewhat inclined to look for a sacrifice, this is the wrong hand. So we're just going to keep passing. Turns out our friendly right-hand opponent has the same suits we do. Looks like they have both spades and diamonds. So that's good for us. We have some possibilities, behind them in both suits. Now, one of the things about this auction is that we can be pretty sure dummy is going to be short in spades to some degree. They could have as many as two, but there's definitely going to be some indication that they want to take some roughs on the board. So there's two things that we can do here. We can either lead trumps and try to cut down on the roughs, or we can lead partner suits hearts and just kind of hope for the best later on. On the surface, it looks like leading trumps is probably the right idea. But my concern is that dummy actually is going to have some real length in diamonds, and partner probably has a singleton. Partner is also going to be relatively short in spades. So there's a decent chance that partner may be in a position to overruff dummy if we don't extract their trump. So I'm actually inclined to lead a heart, although it absolutely is the case that a trump might be better. So I'm just going to lead partner suit and we'll see what happens. So we're kind of done well. Dummy only having two trumps is really good for us. The increases the odds for sure that they're going down here. Biggest concern actually is that the player has a strong enough club holding that they might be able to use that to discard their spade losers. So I'm considering first and foremost whether I want to duck this diamond. I think that there's a decent chance that holding up on the diamond might leave us in a stronger position. For example, if I duck the diamond, they repeat the finesse and now play a club, there's some chance I might be able to tangle them up. The problem with this type of defense, though, is that if the player has king doubleton of clubs, this may kind of give them the ability to pick up the club suit that they wouldn't necessarily do so easily if partner's queen doubleton offside. So I actually think I'm going to not do the attacking club defense. I still think that it's probably right to duck. I might induce them into a spade finesse. No, but that's fine too. I'm going to tap them and hope that they don't, in fact, have all the clubs. The very least, I'm hoping they have some sort of guessing clubs. Oh my God, what did my partner just do? Well, that was a very bad play by my partner. Throwing the queen of clubs there is, you know, it, something that a human player would never consider doing, right? The robot may be inclined to think, well, it's just going to drop anyway. This is the type of logic that the computer may be using here. It's just going to drop anyway, so it doesn't have any value. But what it's missing is the fact that declarer has a guess, right? There's a very realistic chance that declarer may decide to play a club to the jack and try to, you know, run the club suit that way. Because I absolutely could have had queen third of clubs here. So, that was like the one card that they couldn't afford to throw. They could have, just waited around and thrown a heart and wait to see what happens. And, if declarer gets it right, so be it. But yeah, that was not the right thing to do. So that was an extremely unfortunate play by my robot partner there. All right, more exciting hands. So we have a very strong hand here, and partners open the bidding. So we definitely are already thinking about slam. You can almost even envision it already that it's an extremely likely outcome for this hand that we will reach six spades or something similar. But for now, we're just going to be one spade and we're going to see where it goes. So I want to see what the methods are here. I'm not entirely sure how they play. Okay. So some people play what I was checking here. Some people play two diamonds as like a new minor forcing type of bit. It doesn't call that out specifically. I still feel like that's almost what we have to do, regardless of, whether the robot thinks we have natural diamonds or not. Our hand is just simply too strong to, merely bid four spades. So we have to come up with some sort of way to try and set spades as trumps, with the hopes at least to try and be able to eventually, key card something along those lines. So at the very least for now, it's not the greatest bid if it's natural, it's for sure. But well, partner's not really cooperating. I don't really like any of my options here in terms of what my bids mean. But in practice, I think that the odds that we have slam are so high, I'm just inclined to bid one, even since we don't have good methods here to try and be able to recover. I can just double check that three spades is game forcing. I do have that. So I could bid three spades and see what happens from there. In the end, it's not looking like we're going to be able to start a cubic auction and try to confirm that we have a diamond control anyway. So, Blackwood is generally speaking not the best option when you have two fast losers in a suit. Having said that, as it happens, since two diamonds was intended as natural, we may have inadvertently psyched the opponents out of finding a diamond lead. So, there's a little bit of safety here in ignoring the fact that we have two losing diamonds. So I'm going to bid three spades, see if partner bids four spades, which would allow me to bid four no trump. If partner doesn't cooperate, I may end up just bidding a slam anyway. Feels like it's very difficult to navigate the waters with these methods. Yeah, three no. Not exactly the bid I wanted to hear. So it is possible that no trumps could be a better spot. It's not. Let's see. So one of the options I have is 5 no trump, which is a choice of slams. Given that I have ace, king, queen, deuce, seventh, right? My spades are very empty. They're, very heavy on the top end, but I don't have any interiors. I don't have the 10. I don't have the 9, nothing like that. Opposite a singleton spade, spades rates to be a fine trump suit. Opposite spade void, it's very likely that we'll have a loser in this suit. And it's possible with partner bidding clubs 3 times that we may have enough tricks even outside the spade suit if we play in a different strain. So there's definitely something to be said here for not insisting on spades, but rather looking for other options. So I think that this is probably the best bid. I strongly suspect that the computer will offer 6 clubs over a choice of slams type of bid, which truthfully could be the best spot, but it is match point type scoring. So it's probably not one I'm going to allow the computer to do. I'm really more aimed towards spades or no trumps. If this were imps as opposed to match points, I would more strongly consider allowing partners to play 6 clubs if they rebid it here. But we're going to bid 5 no trump. It's choice of slams. Seems like a perfect decision I want. 6 diamonds. No. That is not one of your options. Says 6 spades is to play. That's not really what I want. I wanted to offer a choice. But we're gonna see if the computer picks up on that this is a choice. I think it's probably better to play spades rather than no trumps for one small reason, which is that since partner is the one who bid no trumps, the heart lead could be, very detrimental coming through my holding as opposed to into it. So as it turns out, the diamond suit was open. They did in fact have the first 2 diamond tricks, but now on the heart lead, thankfully, all we need to do is navigate the trumps. So even if trumps happen to be 4-1, we still have a chance here. So we're gonna see what happens. Nope. And can just claim. So we put one over on the computer there by bidding 2 diamonds. Wasn't exactly my intent at the time, but had some added benefits. So partners open 3 spades, vulnerable versus not. Then we have a lot of aces and kings and a lot of spades. Clearly we should be bidding. The only question is, should we consider 3 no trump as opposed to 4 spades? It absolutely could be right, but I'm more inclined just to put partner in a suit. We don't know what's going on over there. We just know that they have a lot of spades, and with so many empty holdings on the side, it just could be a low stiff club or something similar, for example, where they just lead a club against 3 no and we only have 9 tricks, where partner has, say, like the queen of diamonds or something like that, where we could develop tricks and spades that we just can't afford to in no trumps. So I'm going to bid 4 spades. All right. So it was a stiff diamond, not a stiff club, but same basic idea. Turns out this one, maybe 3 no would have been better, because if they do lead a minor, we have 7 spades, the ace of hearts, and whatever king in the minor that they lead. So there definitely was some upside into bidding 3 no trump. That might have actually been easier, but 4 spades is far from hopeless. And we're going to see how we do. So not a strong reason to cover so early here. So we're just going to So one small thing that we can do is we can test to see if the ace of diamonds roughs up third. And it does. So that gives us a nice benefit. So what I'm thinking about here is now that I've set up my discard, I have a couple different options here, right? I can go take my discard and, lose a club and a heart, maybe two clubs and a heart. So, this is the part of the problem is we don't know exactly what it is that we want to discard. So there's definitely some benefit to being able to, for example, what I'm thinking about is drawing the trump in hand and leading up towards one of Dummy's holdings. I'm inclined to leaning like a heart towards the ace jack third. If East produces an honor, we can just win, we can discard a club, and then we can be sure to making our contract. East plays small, which is much more expected. We've stick in the jack of hearts, and now West has to play something. They're presumably out of diamonds. So a heart may give us something that we can do with the 10-8 of hearts in our hand, and a club is obviously into the king. So I think that that's the better line of play. So we're gonna do that. So hearts, the jack, and queen, and now they're playing a club, which is perfect. And now I don't have to guess what to discard on my king of diamonds anymore. I can just discard my hearts and claim. Well, that was a pretty exciting set. Not only did we have a few interesting play problems, but we had some pretty wild hands in there where, there were a lot of different roads that we could have taken. The, you know, the two notable ones to me were the one where we were defending, where the opponent bid Michaels and the robot pitched the queen of clubs. As I said at the time, that's just a play that it robots think differently than people do. And that's just not something that I would expect most players to do. You may be seeing my cat in a second here. She is trying to get into the screen here. So, in practice, I think our defense on that was pretty good. We reduced it to the point where our our declarer had to guess the club suit to make their contract. And unfortunately, partner made that easy. The other was the slab, where it turns out that we were off the ace king of diamonds. Really, really tough hands. I was hoping that the robot would interpret two diamonds as new minor forcing. Here's sort of the crux of the problem. Like three spades was invitational, not forcing. Four spades was also not forcing. It's game, but it's not forcing, and our hand was just too good for that. Two spades is obviously not forcing. So we're sort of constrained to bidding a new suit, which is why most people do, in fact, play two diamonds there as new minor. In fact, the original name new minor forcing comes from it being a new minor and more than just no trump rebid auctions, but also these minor suit rebids when you have to bid the new minor just to keep the auction alive. So, the robot didn't really pick up on our intent there, trying to get to six diamonds. But six spades did have the benefit of right siding it from the perspective of the heart suit, and the robot was convinced not to try and lead diamonds. It is a holding, ace fifth of diamonds. That was an opening lead that many people would try in a vacuum. But if they thought that declare had natural diamonds, I can certainly understand why they would not want to leave that diamond. So, you know, the odds that the ace of diamonds were sitting over the king and might be able to capture it is just way too high. You have way too good a chance that you might be setting it by not leading the ace of diamonds. So I completely sympathize with the robot there. As I said, I inadvertently psyched them and it works. It convinced them not to define the setting late. So thanks everyone. Hope you enjoyed and hope to see you down the road in another set. Thanks.